Hey y'all, it's Ashley, and I'm back again for another gear review video of the Camp Chef Everest 2-burner stove. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out our grading rubric video where we go over how we actually grade and score gear and apparel on this channel. Other than that, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you're notified when new videos drop to this channel. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started on that review. So this is the Camp Chef Everest 2-burner stove. Let's go ahead and go over the fit and form first on this specific model. So for fit, you typically want to use this in more stationary environments. This is best suited if you're not moving around too much. So if you're car camping, boat camping, yurt camping, cabin camping, just any sort of more stationary camping, you wouldn't want to take this backpacking. This is pretty heavy for something of that situation. So I would definitely recommend that this is more of a stationary camping or day use kind of stove. Now, if you're going to be using a type of stove like this, you have to have a type of fuel source to use with it. So in general, you usually use a propane canister in order to fuel this type of stove. I have here a 16-ounce canister that I typically use when using this stove. This propane canister is about 16 ounces and it gives you about 60 minutes of burn time with 2 burners on this stove. Although you can use any size canister that's available, I've typically seen people use a larger adapter hose rather than the connector line that comes with this stove. And you can use that adapter hose to hook to a bigger fuel source, say like a 20-pound or 15-pound propane tank as well. And then later in the video, I'll go ahead and demonstrate how you actually get the connector line attached to the stove that attaches to the fuel source. And then just jumping back to portability real quick, this stove is about 12 pounds. So again, it's not meant to be used in a more portable environment. This is definitely more used for stationary environments like car camping. It does come with this really cool handle on the bottom, so it is easy carrying when you do get to your final destination. But yeah, definitely a little bit more bulkier than most stoves that you would be backpacking with or carrying for long distances. And dimension wise, this stove is 24 inches in length, 14 inches in width, and 4 inches in height. All right, so let's go ahead and go over the form. So this stove is made out of stamped stainless steel metal, and starting from the base, we'll go ahead and pop it open and just kind of talk about all of its parts. So at the base here, you've got your stainless steel housing unit that has the 2 burners inside. The burners sit in the stainless steel drip pan where all of the debris are collected while you're actually cooking. And as you can see, I've actually lined the bottom of this drip pan with a little bit of aluminum to just help keep it clean and easier to maintain over its lifetime. All right, and on the front side of the case, you'll see the appliance style controls here that regulate the temperature of the burners, as well as the igniter button here. And on the right-hand side of this stove, you'll find the actual fuel connector as well. That sits right here. And then back inside the case, you'll find the nickel-coated cooking grate where you can place all of your pans, pots, griddles, skillets on top for cooking. You've also got these really great windscreens here that connect to the top of the stove, and that helps prevent heat and fuel loss. So let's go ahead and connect those now so I can just show you how it's set up. There we go. All set. And then you've also got the closure snaps for the lid to attach to the bottom of the stove right here as well. And the attachment points are right at the bottom here, and these 2 are plastic molded pieces. And as we said before, this model does come with the fuel connector line. For storage purposes, I usually just put it right underneath the nickel grate here and then take it out when we're ready to go ahead and connect. All right, so we'll go ahead and demonstrate how you actually get this fuel connector line onto the stove. All right, so we're on the right-hand side of the stove now with the fuel connector line here, and we're gonna go ahead and put this inside of the actual fuel port to hook it up to the stove. So one review I've already heard about this stove is that this connector line is kind of difficult to actually get connected to the stove. I've heard things from threading problems to just overall connectivity is not good. So something to keep in mind with this stove is that the setup time for this might be a little bit higher because the fuel line connector here is a little bit difficult to set up. So I'll actually kind of show you how that is. So we've got the threading here, everything's ready to go. Let's go ahead and try to get it on. And then one tip or trick I have for you is if you just grab the corner of the stove to keep it from sliding, that also helps to just ensure that you've got better connectivity as you're tightening it around the fuel connector. So just keep going, keep holding, keep screwing. And then eventually you should hear full connection and get full resistance there to let you know that you are connected. All right, so now that you've got your fuel line connected, you can go ahead and add the fuel source to the fuel line that connects to the stove. We're not going to actually do that demonstration today since we are indoors, so we'll go ahead and skip that piece. I'm pretty sure you've got it from there. All right, so now that we've gone over the whole fit and form of the stove, let's go ahead and transition into the functionality piece of this. So talking about the wind resistance on this model is really important. You do get these awesome 3 panels here with the 2 windscreens on the sides and then the lid on the top to just really help make sure that there is less heat loss going on as well as fuel consumption going on as well. So I would definitely say that this model has a really great functionality when it comes to wind resistance as well as heat loss. It definitely maintains its heat really well so that you can cook faster and more efficiently using your fuel sources. For waterproofing and water resistance, as long as you're not leaving it out with the lid open, you keep the lid closed, keep everything inside of it. It should stay fairly dry, but it's not really water resistant or waterproof. So I wouldn't leave it in like a torrential downpour or flood conditions. You will most likely end up damaging the burners that way. So definitely keep it in a dry location when not in use and keep it fully closed so that you can prevent damage to the burners. So ease of setup, as you saw, once you've opened the lid, you've put the windscreens on, you've got the fuel line connected to it as well. It's pretty simple to get set up. Although, as you saw with the connector line, you do have to do a couple tips and tricks to just make sure you've got a good connection between your fuel line and the stove. For heating and cooking functionality, this thing roars. It's got 40,000 BTUs on it, 20,000 on each burner. You shouldn't have any problems cooking a large steak or something in a cast iron on this stove. It heats up pretty quick and is able to maintain a really high heat for a really long time as long as you've got the fuel source to accommodate it. So no issues with cooking any sort of like high density foods on this particular stove. So for ease of use on this stove, I would definitely say that the simmer capability is there is where you need it. It's able to boil water within 2.5 to 3 minutes, and that's like a full 16-ounce cooking pot. No issues with that, although I will call out that it does have a temperature regulator issue on this particular model. There's been some review comments about this as well on some of the forums that the temperature regulator is a little bit off on these models. Even at a low simmer sometimes you may end up getting a red or orange flame versus a blue flame. When you're using a propane stove like this, you should only see a blue flame. I've definitely seen this thing spark into orange and red as well as full-on flames happening that are not from whatever I'm cooking. So even boiling water, I've seen some flames before. So just be cognizant and aware of that on this model, that sometimes the temperature regulator can be a little bit off, and you will sometimes see an orange or red flame on this. And if you do get that orange or red flame, just a quick tip and trick, go ahead and turn the burners off real quick and then just turn the gas back on and reignite and then start again, and you should be back to the blue flame. So that's one reason why we're also not demonstrating on this particular stove for this review video, is that sometimes we do know that this stove can turn to an orange to red flame, which is a little bit hazardous in some conditions. And then ease of care on this model is pretty simple. There's a lot of round, smooth edges, so it's super easy to get in there with a wet rag or a toothbrush and just really clean out the grease and the grime that can build up over time from usage. So I would say that this ease of care is pretty easy on this particular model. And you can also take the cooking grate completely off so you can get down to the drip pan and clean it even more so. And I would definitely recommend doing that on a normal basis to keep the burners from becoming clogged. Once they do become clogged, they're difficult to unclog, and that can really degrade the performance level of the burners over time while you're trying to cook on it. And as I pointed out earlier in the video, one modification that I made to the stove is to just add a sheet of aluminum foil on the bottom of the drip pan. It just really helps keep the ease of care high, just to ensure that the drip pan's not getting super dirty and that you have to keep wiping it out. Once the aluminum foil's in there, you can just take that out and put a new sheet in and you're good to go again. All right, let's go ahead and go over the fit, form, and functionality scoring of this product. We would give this from a quality score scale of about a 23 out of 30. There's just a lot of tips and tricks that you have to utilize with this particular product to make it work: ease of care, ease of usage, and functionality. So that's where it took a dip a little bit in the quality score scale. This item typically retails for about 130 MSRP, and the average price point of similar quality products is about 135 to 140. So if you look at the overall product value score scale for this particular product, we'd probably give it about an 83 out of 100. And it's really taking a dip because of those tips and tricks that you have to do to work with this particular model. So with that product value score scale of about an 83 out of 100, we would say that this particular product is lower than par for its overall utility or value that you're getting out of it for the price that you're paying. So therefore it's considered a good value, but not a great value on our product value score scale. All right, that's it for my review of the Camp Chef Everest 2-burner stove. I'll drop a link below in case you're interested in checking out this product. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button for me, and thanks so much for helping me grow this channel. And be sure to check back for our next video where we will be going over another piece of gear or apparel out of my outdoor collection. Until then, happy adventuring, and we'll see you next time.